world that I knew, that just the touch of my grandmother's hand, there's a word in Spanish that doesn't translate into any word in English, and it's called apapachar. The literal translation of that word means to caress the soul. How many of you have ever gone to a medical doctor and felt that they have caressed your soul? Because in curanderismo and indigenous medicine and healing, that's when healing starts. When you feel that you have been listened to and that your spiritual side has been listened to. When your soul has been caressed, then you start to heal. It's not in a pill, it's not in an antibiotic, it's nothing like that. And I believe that the true fight starts when we start saying, I need that. Which is kind of interesting because the word doctor, does anybody know what the word doctor means in Latin? The word doctor means teacher. How many of you in your last appointment when you went to your doctor was taught something as opposed to being told something? Right? Here's your medicine. Because the current standard here in New Mexico is 7.5 minutes that you have for your doctor minute. Who could possibly be taught something? We deal with the system where our current, how can I even expect anybody, if I think even with my patients that have disabilities or more, my patients that are elderly or my children, how could they possibly, or even regular normal people, how could they say what's wrong with them in 7.5 minutes? What are those expectations that we have of people? Much less be able to listen to their spirit. Much less be able to caress their soul. There's something wrong with our system. And there's something that, the way that it's going to start with all of us is to be able to start to recognize that there is no spiritual justice. When I started thinking, like we talk about racial and social justice and environmental justice, for me it's going to take an army of people like us that are all on the front saying, I have a right within the medical system to say I have a right to have spiritual justice. If I'm in the hospital and I want a curandera here, or I want a traditional healer, or I want somebody that when I am having surgery, I want a Reiki practitioner in the room with me, that is my right. Because my soul is just as important. I had an elder in Washington State where they said the FDA came down and told the indigenous elder, these fish are poisoned, the salmon. They said, you cannot eat them. Your people will die. All 4 of their salmon. They met, the council, the elders, the indigenous elders met and said, you know what? We will continue to eat them because each one of those salmon feed a different part of my soul. And our soul is more important than our physical body. And you cannot tell me I can't feed my soul. And I think that's just important to us as a society is like, where is our soul? The reality is if we look at our politics, if we look at our communities, our souls and our spirits are sicker than our physical bodies. And if we're not conscious in like how we act with each other, we are sick. Like there is no consciousness when we see people like at a community level. Like how can we band together to say there is spiritual justice and we need to come together? I was talking to my comadre here the other day, and here's what it comes down to. If you're from here, and there's an old John Denver song that came into my mind, This Isn't a Dream, and I don't even listen to John Denver, and I think that's who sings it. But do you know the song, Where Have All the Flowers Gone?
Yeah.
That's Johnny Mitchell. Is it Johnny Mitchell? Good. Because I was like, way before my time, I think. I don't even know.
Yes.
But in New Mexico, and you probably, I know you'll relate to this, Mary. My question is, and to my heart it hurts, it's like, where have all the Guadalupanas gone? Guadalupanas. In New Mexico history, in every church, you would see them with we call them peliacates, their handkerchiefs, would be pinned to their shirts, and they would walk down the aisles together in prayer. And when someone was sick in your home, they would come to your home and they would pray with you. When someone's funeral together, they would pray at the rosaries together. When there was a crisis together, you'd show them all these beautiful viejitas in their energy. They would march together like ants. And they would come in and you would just honor, and most of them had their mantas together. And I'm not arguing against the church. It's not about that, but like, where is that community prayer? Where are these strong women leaders that would come together to the community in crisis and say, where are the Guadalupanas? Where have we lost that communal feminine prayer? Because that was, my aunts that were Guadalupanas, they've all passed. And there's a disconnect when the community can't come together in prayer and say that. And my question is, where have all the Guadalupanas gone? If it's not being supported in the churches, and to me it's not about being Catholic or Protestant or what your church is, what your religion is. There is not that community support when we're coming together. On the contrary, we're so separated by religions, because to me it doesn't matter what your religion is. It doesn't matter what your faith is if you can't come together in prayer and support each other, we are so lost. And to me, I am so over, like even in healing work. Do you do Reiki? Do you do acupuncture? Do you call it this? Do you call it Ayurvedic? Do you call it curanderismo? If your intent is not to heal, then you shouldn't be in it to begin with. If I can't see you as a Reiki practitioner, your work is just as valid as mine. Because if your intent is to heal someone, there's no separateness. The moment that your ego comes into play, that you think your work is better than someone, then you should step out. The moment that you think that your table is not welcome for someone else, then you should step out, because then that's not a table to be served. I will, and I will commit this to me, because at the time that I won't practice. If anybody, because I've been questioned a lot, even by my own comadres, unfortunately, that why do I teach this medicine? And I will promise, I will teach this medicine to whoever asks me to teach them. And I will ask them to teach this medicine to whoever asks them to teach them. Because when Creator, or Tonantzin, Mother Earth, the Virgen de Guadalupe, grew that dandelion, there was no sign for anybody. But I hope that everybody has the consciousness to know that that dandelion is medicine. It is not mine. And it's not mine to say who gets it or who's not. But I will do that, because that is what God and the Creator has asked me to do. This medicine belongs to anybody. It's in our roots. It's in your blood. And I ask people to talk to their grandmothers, talk to their elders, open up the communication. We're too sick. We are way too sick to die from this. We are dying. We are dying. And if in the hospitals, I had seen one of our comadres, Marcela, and she was in the hospital a while back, and there was a woman that was elderly next to her, and I'll never forget, as I walked in there, she was alone, and I was visiting her, and I turned to her, and she turned to me, and she said, she just smiled, and she says, "Come here," this elderly woman, and she says, "I'm dying." And she says, "Will you sing for me?" And I said, "Yeah." And she died. And Marcela told me, "You should just work here and sing for all these people." And in a way, she's right? Because there should be more people doing that work. Why aren't we doing that work? Why shouldn't there be more people holding each other that way? Where have all those Guadalupanas gone? Because then we wouldn't have so much hatefulness out there.
Yes. Yeah.
That's spiritual justice, when we can support and hold each other. So, I don't remember how much time we have, but I want to just open it up for questions or ideas, and I want to learn from you guys and how we support each other. 5 minutes. And I want to, no sé si Maya, si tú tienes un comentario y si tenemos preguntas o the person. I'm gonna give her a few minutes and know she always has a lot to say.
Lo que acabas de hacer te compromete.
She's gonna pull me to what I just said.
Muy buenos días acá nuestros compañeros que llegaron después.
Welcome all our friends, especially the ones that got here later.
Yo creo que Tonita ha tocado puntos muy importantes
She thinks I got to very important points
que para mí en lo personal son muy simples porque es la práctica que intento o practicamos mucho en México.
but I think these are very simple points that we practice a lot in Mexico.
Y ciertamente
It's true that
de lo que me vengo dando cuenta es que se complica uno tanto la vida,
sometimes we all make our lives very complicated,
pero hay mucha razón.
but there's a lot of reason.
Porque se ha olvidado
We have forgotten
de reconocer lo importante que es rescatar las raíces.
that we've forgotten how important it is to look at our roots.
Esas raíces,
Those roots,
desafortunadamente,
unfortunately,
si las dejamos que se acaben de morir,
if we let them die,
se sigue perdiendo la esencia de la espiritualidad sagrada.
we lose our sacred spiritual essence.
En este momento en Cuernavaca
At this moment in Cuernavaca, Mexico,
estoy dando un curso de temazcal para 18 temazcaleros.
I'm teaching a class for 18 temazcaleros.
Ahí está un médico,
There is a doctor there.
cirujano,
He's a surgeon,
y su esposa es enfermera.
and his wife is a nurse.
Y yo le dije, ¿y ahora cómo nos vamos a entender usted y yo?
And I say, how will we understand each other?
Y me dice,